It's finally happened. WWE has officially, for the first time ever for their primetime programming, gone under 1 million in viewership. WWE Smackdown pulling 933,000 viewers with a .20 in the 18 to 49 demo. Across the board, the lowest in company history for an upfront, live, primetime weekly show. What's going on, guys? BC coming at you. There was no scheduled amped up show today. We're coming at you with a big show tomorrow, not a Paul White, but a big amped up for Thursday, the 6th of November, 2025. But some breaking news came in late this morning that SmackDown had officially gone under 1 million in viewership. And this is really rocking the world of pro wrestling right now. It's not just bad news for WWE, but for all of pro wrestling. Because sadly, WWE controls a lot of that narrative. When WWE is on fire and rolling and rocking on all cylinders, all other brands, all other companies seem to follow suit. Fan enthusiasm and interest and engagement is up. And when WWE is really bad, you kind of feel that throughout the industry. So this is not good news. There should be no tribalism here. This is really bad. And this is something that BC has been sounding the alarm off on and waving that red flag for years. Years I've been talking this on this channel, that this was the only outcome if WWE doesn't truly change their ways. You can say you've changed the landscape of WWE, but unless we see it in real time play out, we'll call your bluff. And that's what this company has done for years. Just say, oh, we're changing. We're switching course. We're shaking things up. The landscape has changed, right? These are all phrases you've heard over the times, over the last several years. But nothing truly gets shaken up. No landscape change. It's the same view. And these shows somehow get worse and worse and worse. And 3 years ago, a big chunk of the community said Hunter Hearst Helmsley is going to save pro wrestling, right? We finally got the old man out. VKM is pushed to the side. Helmsley is now going to make things better. He's going to make things right. And that first year was shaky, right? It was not good. And a lot of talking heads in the community said, you know what? He just needs some time. That's all. I mean, it takes a while, man. VKM has been doing this for decades. You got this dude coming in. He's going to create real change. But it takes time to create real change. So everybody gave Helmsley a pass. Year number 2, things didn't get any better. The decisions he was making, the calls he was making, the botched bookings, ruining what should be top stars in the company, but they're barely, if even, getting out of catering. And then this past year, easily the worst in WWE history. And I was around for that 93, 94 to like 96 years, where the company was rolling out all the gimmicks, and Vince McMahon was trying to refine his footing. So you were getting Doink the Clown, and Papa Shango, and Body Donnas, Duke the Dumpster Drosy. But I said it once and I'll say it a million more times. I'll scream it from the mountaintop. I'll take all of those, quote, gimmicks, and I'll take Vince McMahon trying to find his footing over whatever this was this year, because I don't even recognize this WWE anymore. TKO took over, and from a business standpoint, they have absolutely pimped out the product. There's nothing special about the actual product anymore. Just from a visual standpoint, they have pimped it out. Advertisements on top of advertisements. The ring looks like a NASCAR fire suit. They created more LED boards just so they could act as billboards. Tables are sporting Slim Jim logos. Money in the Bank briefcase is sporting Cash App. It's only a matter of time before the ladders will have Home Depot or Lowe's, and the wrestlers will be coming down the aisle with advertisement patches as if they are NASCAR drivers. It's only a matter of time. Most of that is already happening. The only thing that is not the wrestlers wearing patches. It's happening, though. Brock Lesnar started a couple of years ago with the Jimmy Johns. They took the Royal Rumble and they even took WrestleMania, and they're going to Saudi. In the process, they skipped over the UK. If it was leaving the US and it wasn't going to be Canada again, you would have thought it would be UK. All the money that they spend on the product, they've been asking for this for so long, they showed the loyalty to WWE. They went to every WrestleMania, whether it was US or Canada. They showed up and they kept asking. And finally, it's leaving the US, not to Canada, so you would think it's UK. No, they pimped it out for the highest bid. BC, that's business, man, is it? To take the loyalty of your consumer and completely shit on it time and time again? To take your most coveted event, WrestleMania, and pimp it out to Saudi, where the females can't even wear short sleeves. They got to be in their little onesies. The females have to be out there like a bunch of Power Rangers. And then you get to the creative, and I use that very loosely. Hunter Hearst Helmsley is a guy who has no idea what he is doing. I've said this a billion times. I don't even want to repeat it. But for a recap, this is a professional wrestler who kissed ass to get to the top. That's just the truth. That's not a hot take. It's not an opinion. He instantly got in tight with the clique, knowing that they were always in Vince's office. Helmsley didn't drink or do anything. There was no reason that those would have been his best friends. If you want to talk shop and you love pro wrestling and talk about the business, there was Bret Hart and so many others. No, he chose the clique and to be their designated driver and all of that stuff because they knew they were always in Vince's office. That's where he wanted to be. And once he got in there, he was up Vince McMahon's ass 25 hours out of a 24-hour day. To the point where he took Test out of the Stephanie McMahon storyline and put himself in. This is when he was just one of the boys. But he had Vince's ear. And poor Test, this was a huge story for Test. This was going to catapult that dude, and he was removed. Helmsley was put in. And once he was in with the boss's daughter, he started putting the moves on. He was with China at the time, by the way. Another pro wrestler who is no longer with us. Much love to Joni. But cheated on China because the boss's daughter was right there. He was not going to let this opportunity slip. And he put the moves on. And behind China's back, got together with Steph. And once he was with Steph, now he's the son-in-law. The company will go to him. And that's what happened. I want you guys to understand, this isn't an opinion, a hot take, right? I want to be clear that this is how it all unfolded. There's no twist here. That's what happened. A lot of you guys might be younger, but a lot of us lived through the entire thing. We saw it play out in real time. Anybody will tell you, any wrestler will tell you, the biggest kiss ass in professional wrestling has always been petty Paul Levesque McMahon. Always. He wouldn't hesitate to take out the golden shovel when he was a wrestler, and even worse now as a booker. If he doesn't like you, you're not going anywhere. A la LA Knight, Karrion Kross, R-Truth, Bobby Lashley, Drew McIntyre, and so many others. He'll let you get so far, but you're not getting to the top. CM Punk, you just watch. You just watch. This move, that CM Punk is not holding on to that title very long. It's not going to happen, man. You saw what happened at SummerSlam. He's probably pissed he had to put the title back on him. But Yeterman was giving them record number in dislikes. Jey Uso from the 18 to 49 demo was absolutely being panned. But that's the match you went with, man. Because Punk was supposed to lose to Rollins. You guys know that. That was the original Saturday Night's Main Event match. But Rollins just got the title. Rollins is this thing with Rollins, this whole thing wasn't for Rollins to drop the belt on a Saturday Night's Main Event. CM Punk was not walking out with that title. And I wouldn't put it past Helmsley to let his good buddy Logan Paul beat CM Punk immediately for that title. Because Petty Paul doesn't forget that. He doesn't like Punk. And deep down, Punk doesn't like him either. Punk's trying to play the good soldier these days. He's trying to play the good employee. And I totally applaud that because he has to, because he burned so many bridges. So unfortunately, he's in a position, his back's up against a wall where he has to play nice with Petty Paul, Levesque, McMahon. But when you kiss ass to get to the top, or sleep your way to the top. That's a real thing in companies, guys. It's called sleeping your way to the top. It's not a pro wrestling thing. It happens all the time, actually. Yes, a lot of times it's reversed. It's the lady doing it. In this case, Levesque McMahon saw an opening, literally and figuratively, then he took it. And he became the doofus son-in-law, as CM Punk would say. But what happens is, you are going to get those keys to the kingdom one day. You're going to be the guy in charge. And who's going to suffer with all that? It's going to be all the fans. It's going to be everybody that was supporting this company for decades, because now we have a legit doofus at the top who is not creative. Who a portion of the fans still to this day give all the credit for black and gold NXT when that was Dusty Rhodes and William Regal. On the wallet, on the dime of Vince McMahon. Helmsley never paid a dime for NXT. That was always Vince McMahon. And Helmsley rolled in on the company jet once a week, tops, to stamp his name and approval on everything, all the work that Dusty Rhodes and William Regal were doing on day-to-day operations. Everything you see, promo classes, all of that, Dusty was working with these talents. But Helmsley would take all the credit and receive all the accolades when NXT was looked at as a real challenger brand. But once AEW came in as a new company and Tony Khan booted NXT off of Wednesday nights, defeated NXT, there was Hunter Hearst Helmsley saying, "Congratulations, you beat our developmental program. I would hope you would beat that. Is that something to celebrate?" he said. "You beat our developmental. Congratulations." Oh, now you're going to downplay it. So you fast forward, and this is the guy now in charge of the thing we all love. We all grew up watching, most of us since we were kids, WWE. And this guy is in charge of it all. He's playing the role of Vince McMahon. He wants to do Vince McMahon shit. The problem is he couldn't step foot in Vince McMahon's loafers. Vince McMahon would be in his office 25 hours out of the day. He was in there so much, he found an extra hour somehow. 25 hours a day. Paul Levesque McMahon can't be in his office 1 hour out of the day. Not 1 hour. He's got to be traveling to the next podcast, to the next Tonight Show, to the Pacer game, to the UFC fight, to the White House, his next commercial, his next voiceover, publicity. spokesperson for WWE, right, announced the new Saudi deal for WrestleMania. It's always Helmsley as the face of the company. You know, it's interesting. He recently said WWE is more mainstream today than it ever was. And I'm guessing he's thinking because they have the deal with ESPN and Netflix. Bro, back in the Attitude Era, I was seeing Stone Cold Steve Austin everywhere. I was seeing The Rock everywhere. I was seeing Kurt Angle everywhere. I was seeing China everywhere. The talk shows, special acting appearances. The Undertaker. Sports legends. Their hero was The Undertaker, bro. Nowadays, who's mainstream in this era? In Helmsley's era of WWE, who's mainstream? The only person I see on talk shows or right in the middle of all the commercials, doing all the voiceovers, at all the games, hanging at the White House, all of this, it's you. It's Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Once in a while, I'll see a Jey Uso or on a Cricket Wireless commercial. Maybe I'll see Cody Rhodes do his little vodka commercial. Maybe LA Knight will do a Slim Jim. But if you've noticed, that's all tied to the show, right? You only really see those commercials when they're on the actual Raw or a SmackDown. You don't really see them 24/7 on other channels, other programming. More mainstream? We just did a piece on a recent Amped Up show, and it's quite sad, actually, because it's eye-opening. But it was a survey that was conducted, and individuals that don't watch pro wrestling were asked, can you name 5 WWE, quote, superstars of the last 10 years? 5, just 5. They couldn't name anybody. The only names that were coming up was kind of like Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, CM Punk. They've all been doing this well over 10 years. And they couldn't even name 5. That was it. That was 3. And the only other names popping up were way past 10 years. They were going to the Attitude Era nonstop. Austin, Rock, Taker, you name it. Even China, Ken Shamrock was being brought up. And then the next era, Brock Lesnar, John Cena. But nobody could name 5 wrestlers of the last 10 years. How sad is that, man? But Helmsley claims it's the most mainstream that WWE and pro wrestling has ever been. No, you botched that. It probably should be. Especially given what you always tout, right? You're on Netflix. You can now reach 700 million viewers. But you only pull 2.3 globally. That's another story, right? Globally, Raw has just lost 300,000 viewers, down from 2.6 to 2.3 globally, and their domestic is down to 1.1. That's a whole nother story. We're really focusing on SmackDown because they went under 1 million. Raw, I can officially report, has dropped to 2.3. So they are falling fast yet again as well. And by the way, that was the Jey Uso CM Punk face-off because that was last week's number. Netflix is always a week behind because they count 7 days of viewership, not just one night like they used to do on cable. So that's a huge advantage to WWE. You would think these numbers would be off the charts. 7 days counted. And they're losing viewers. How does that math add up? You can now reach more people than ever before. They now count 7 days, not one night. But somehow you're pulling the lowest viewership of all time. That's Helmsley's WWE. That's what I'm trying to get at, guys. This whole recap and going through all these facts, not hot takes, not opinions. This is all boiling up to how we got to a fact of SmackDown just lost another 200,000 viewers and dipped to 933. Right? Because this isn't Halloween. The reason that they went under a million isn't Halloween. They were at a 1.14 last week. Why are you that close to a million? Because your product really, really sucks. And in previous weeks, they were at a 1.03 and a 1.02. Why were they at almost a million in viewers? That's not Halloween. That's not the holidays yet. This was October numbers. Early. End of September, early October, they were dangerously close to a million. And I always say, you can't be that bad. Because then when a holiday does come up, or any other excuse you have, your grandmother's 95th birthday, it was National Ice Cream Day, the Super Bowl was on Friday night, NCAA championships, you name it, whatever excuse you can pull out of your ass. That's not the reason you got dented in the numbers. You were already so low, you could not afford a championship game or a holiday or a preemption or a pre-tape. That's the problem. The fact that you were already so low, you can't afford any of those reasons or excuses. That's the problem. The fact that they were already at a 1-1. So then when they finally get hit with another 100 to 200,000 viewership loss, there's fans out there that are going to go, Halloween, man, Halloween, I think was Friday. So what is that? So you're saying they were pulling like 3 million and they lost 2.2 million? Is that what you're saying? 2.1 to 900,000? Is that what you're saying? Oh no, that's right. They were at a 1.1 and the show was so bad. We know this because BC reviewed it. The most honest review you're going to get in this community. You guys heard that SmackDown review. I didn't hold back. Those were not hot takes or opinions. Those were facts. SmackDown was extra, extra, extra bad. So if you're not going to put your best foot forward and at least try to compete with Halloween, you're going to get clobbered. And that's what happened. They lost another 180-some-odd-thousand viewers down from the 1-1 at a 933K now. That's what happens when you're bad for so long. That's not a holiday came in and just took away a couple million viewers. Oh, don't worry, guys, it was a holiday. Don't worry, guys, it was National Ice Cream Day. It's all good. They'll bounce back next week. Have you seen the last several weeks of SmackDown ratings? Have you seen them? 103, 102, 11 some odd, and now 933K. And that's how we got here, because the guy in charge is clueless. He doesn't know what he is doing. He sucks at what he does. He's very petty. He plays to his favorites and those that should be getting even a piece of the rocket. If he doesn't like them, you're getting nothing. And we'll talk more about that in tomorrow's Amped Up, by the way. Our main story tomorrow, we're going to blow the roof off. So you have the red brand pulling in record lows at 2.3 globally, and you have the blue brand pulling in record lows. Company history for primetime. That's Raw and SmackDown. The lowest primetime number in company history at a 933,000 viewership. And you have guys like Vince Russo who have said time and time again, Helmsley has never brought any creativity to the table, never had any ideas, never brought anything to the table. You have a lot of individuals and wrestlers that shared the locker room with Helmsley, talk about how petty he was, how he would always stab those in the back, how he was always trying to hold down talent, how he was always trying to propel himself and only himself. Sounds like a gem to work with and especially for, doesn't it? And this is the guy who is now in charge of WWE. He is the chief of creative and content. So we have bad programming, a bad product, bad television shows, botched creative, horrible character development. Nobody is larger than life. We barely even have, quote, superstars. You have no stars. Every single one of them, it looks like they've never even seen a gym. And Helmsley loves that. Because they can't be bigger than him, and he can no longer hit the gym either. Not like he used to. You saw the vacation photos. The pot belly is there. The muscles are gone. But he still walks around underneath that suit jacket like he's buff, right? Like he's Vince McMahon. The delts are still out. The chest is pumped out. So he wants to make sure that it's Sami Zayn and Jay Yeterman, Dom Mysterio, Nathan Frazier. Get all the smaller dudes and the dudes that are not that jacked. Those are the dudes I want to propel. And when you get guys like Bobby Lashley, nah, dude, you're huge, man. I don't know what to do with you. Go to AEW or something. Drew McIntyre, I know you're a big favorite of Vince McMahon, but I don't know what to. You're too big for me, bro. I don't know what to do with you, and you're jacked up. Fans want me to give you the rocket, so I think you could be something big. I can't have that in my company. LA Knight is 43 years old, and LA Knight is jacked. And LA Knight doesn't look at Helmsley like he's Papa H. He doesn't listen to Helmsley like that. You're a boss, that's fine. I'll respect you to a certain degree. Don't cross the line. Helmsley doesn't like that. He wants you to look at him like he's Papa H. LA Knight won't do that. And again, LA Knight has muscles. That's a no-no. You can't have muscles. And you can't beat to your own drum. LA Knight won't see anything. CM Punk has never been jacked. But again, I still don't think he'll trust me. Punk will end up getting screwed over eventually. But they're trying to play nice with each other right now, Helmsley and Punk. Because trust me when I say there's so much disdain between the two. But this is what I mean. No decision is actually being made for the fan. And this whole year, you sought front and center everything I've been telling you. Right? Watch his actions. Not what he's telling you, it's a new landscape, or I'm doing this, or it's so hard, all the work that we do, and this. Look what he actually does, though. In this whole year, you've seen it front and center. All the talk shows, the commercials, all the appearances at UFC, or the Pacers, or the White House, all of it. And you think, right? Don't you finally ask yourself, shouldn't he be in his office like most of the week, every week, because he's the chief of creative and content? And that's maybe why this product sucks, is the guy at the top doesn't care. And what's sad is that even if he did care, he's so stupid at this pro wrestling thing, he's not creative at all. This is coming from people that worked with him, head writers to his own peers. So even if he tried to lock himself in his own office, would it really be better? But at least we'd have the guy at the top who's in charge of all of this actually paying attention to it more. Because you don't have that. So this is where it's come. All of what we just talked about brings us right back to where we are, and I've been trying to sound that alarm for years. That if they don't truly change, guys, trust me, they're going to go under 1 million in viewership. And you still had a lot of the fans out there, man. They didn't want to believe it. BC, thanks for your energy. Thanks for the content. You're knowledgeable, man. You're entertaining. We appreciate it. But trust me, man, they're not actually going to go under 1 million. They may get close, but Helmsley will then kick it into high gear. Trust me, BC. They know what they're doing. And I said, all right, but you're not understanding, man, because even if it gets too late and they even try to kick it into high gear, it's going to be just that, too late. And they haven't even begun, by the way. I don't think they know how to kick it into high gear. But I tried to tell it, and that there's so many fans that didn't want to believe it because they truly love WWE and they didn't want to believe it. And I understand that. They didn't want to believe it. It's fine. This is the best era because Cody told us that. It's more mainstream than ever because Hunter told us that, BC. The Rock said wrestling is cooler than it's ever been, BC. And BC was like, all right, but guys, look at fan engagement and fan interaction. It's down 30% from just last year. Down 30%. Fan engagement and interaction is down 30%. Merchandise sales is still down over 20% from just last year. Ratings, all-time lows, and now, tragically, has gone under 1 million. Which is what this whole upload is even about. There was not even supposed to be an upload today. But I have so much to just get out because this should have never happened. We never should have sunk this low to where they are now, under 1 million in viewership, especially when we were sounding this alarm for years and all they had to do was listen and correct themselves. Get better. Do better. Pay attention to what you're doing. Larger than life characters and storylines that captivate us. Those two things need to be front and center. When you start your shows, make sure there's pyro and energy and an energetic theme song. And your commentators are pumped up. Do you guys listen to a start of a Monday Night Raw when Sleepy Joe Tessitore says, "Welcome everyone to Monday Night Raw. We have a good night of action ahead of us." That's too much of a higher energy tone, actually. He's much more deadpan, as if you just woke him up from a nap. He's sleepy and angry that he has to call the next 2.5 hours of Monday Night Raw. The theme song, I don't even know what it is. Back in the day, you used to know all the theme songs, man. I don't even care if it was Nickelback. Nickelback's Burn It to the Ground, bro. I will take 1 billion times over than whatever we have now. I don't know what the song's title is. I don't care. I couldn't pick it out of a lineup of songs. There's no energy to the start of these shows at all. From the theme music, the intro music, to the commentators, no pyro. You saw it this past Monday night. You heard the review that I cut, man, and every single thing we talked about was what actually happened. That's what I mean when I say it's not a hot take or opinions, right? I'm literally going over the show, and there's just nothing that happened. So it sounds really bad because it was really bad. A bunch of tag team matches, but nothing happened. Roxy and Raquel defeated Stephanie and Nikki. That's it. The Kabukis defeated Lyra and Bailey. That's it. And then Alexa and Charlie went into the ring. The Kabukis jumped out, and we went to commercial break. So they had Alexa and Charlie fly all the way to New Mexico to get into the ring and hold up their titles. And that's the level of creativity that we're getting, guys. That's what I'm trying to say. The main event, Punk and Uso, who just faced each other at Saturday's main event, now they're a team. And they're taking on the Brawns. That's not captivating anybody. And it was all said and done. Logan Paul punches CM Punk and teases a vision in addition to the vision. Who cares about Logan Paul? And we're supposed to be giddy because at the beginning of the show, they teased a face turn. Everybody no-sold it, bro. New Mexico can't stand Logan Paul, so if you go back to the first segment, they no-sold it. Nobody wanted to see Punk next to Logan Paul fending off the Vision. And when he came in the final segment and looked like he was going to fight alongside Punk, New Mexico no-sold it. Because it's freaking Logan Paul, man. Who cares? Nobody is going to look at Logan Paul as a face anyway, so that would have fallen flat on its face. And just like nobody wants to see Logan Paul in the Vision. But that's all you had. A bunch of tag team matches that nothing happened. Your biggest story from Monday was Logan Paul teased being in the Vision. Wow, man. I don't know why Monday Night Raw is pulling in record lowership. This sounds amazing. Becky Lynch jumped on the commentary table and she cut a promo on Maxine Dupree. She probably could have just done that in the middle of the ring. It's Maxine Dupree, man. But I'm supposed to say this is riveting, and I have no idea why the numbers are so low. That's what I'm supposed to tell you guys. Because there's enough talking heads in the community that will fluff up everything so that they can get clicks and views. I'm supposed to be another Salcedo who fluffs everything up. And much respect, do your thing. But these individuals are not a solution to the problem that WWE is facing. They're part of the problem because they take the sorry-ass product that they're given and they fluff it up and make it sound like it was wonderful. And so the Simons will give it 112 likes or ups, whatever you want to call it. What are you talking about? The show was a drag. It's exhausting. But they fluff it up because they're worried about their own business. I get it. The clicks, the views. We all know, man. It's time to be honest. Guys, SmackDown has gone under 1 million. Now, I'm not saying they can't crawl back over for a week or two here and there, but especially going into the holidays. I mean, if you're this bad already, the holidays are not going to help you. So this is what I've been trying to tell you guys for years, right? When they were at 2.5. Even when they were at 2.75. And I was like, all right, they're going to go to 2.5. And guys, it's still really bad. They're not making any corrections. It's going to go to 2.2. It's going to 2 mil. Then I told you guys, man, it wasn't long ago. I said, guys, they're going to 1.5 million if they don't change. This is very serious because you don't want to go to 1.5 million because 1 million will be in that mirror soon. And they went to 1.5 million, then 1.2 million, and then quickly to 1 million and now under. And guys, where do you think this ends, man? Do you think they just on a whim just get better? Now, the guy in charge has shown you he doesn't care. And he's not creative. And he sucks at what he does, so we're getting a really bad show. We're getting a really bad product. The company sucks right now. So that doesn't go just back up to 1.5 million to 2 million. That now starts the process to 750 000. And then what, guys? Everybody that was trashing AEW numbers, you're going to be forced to go, oh, wow, AEW Dynamite's about to pass SmackDown. Because what do you think is happening? If Dynamite can find its footing, and Blood and Guts is coming up in a couple weeks, it's going to be a really big Wednesday night. So if SmackDown is falling to 750 000 and AEW is trying to get back up to that 750 000, the problem is one company's been around for decades. The other company is about, 6-7 years old? And they're both bringing in the same number? Yeah. Somebody's doing a really bad job, and his name is Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Guys, do you understand? Everything is down because Hunter Hearst Helmsley sucks. And when we can all just finally admit that, we can maybe make real change, get this guy out of that position, put somebody in there that will help make this good again, great again. You want to chant, you deserve it, for every single wrestler that gets a title. Because I do blame the crowd as well, because all these crowds that show up, they spend $10,000 a ticket, and they basically let Helmsley know that no matter what slop you give them, they'll eat it up and ask for seconds. They'll yell, this is awesome 21 times a match. You deserve it. You can put the title on Maxine. They don't care. They've already yelled, you deserve it to Maxine, just when she announced she's getting a title match. They don't care. Everybody gets you deserve it. This is awesome's. All the chants. They'll sing along with Seth even though he's a heel. They don't care. Dirty, dirty, dumb. Even though he's a heel. They don't care. They'll yeet for 20 minutes every single Monday if they're in the arena. They don't care. So yeah, I blame them too for not speaking out. But a lot of them are kids now and they dragged out their parents. So, and that's what this is really booked for, right? This is booked for kids. The yeeting, the dancing, the participation. This is all for kids. It's like watching a kid's show. It's evident what Helmsley's going for, and why he's doing that is because kids are not going to ask questions. They're going to be good little fans and accept everything. As long as we put on some dancing and you can do chants and yell and sing, that's all that matters to these fans. But the 18 to 49 demo is their biggest demo. And what Helmsley didn't calculate is we're at home. We're not paying the $10,000 because there's nothing to pay for right now. It's worthless. You should be paying us to even watch at home. And we're not. We're not singing Seth's theme song when he comes out. We're not yeeting for 20 minutes every Monday like everybody in the crowd. The 18 to 49 demo is pissed off because we've been forgotten about for 3 years now. We have been given garbage for 3 years now from Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Don't you guys see, man? WWE is pulling in record low numbers across the board because of Hunter Hearst Helmsley. His creative sucks. He has none. And he doesn't even care to put himself in the office and work on it, to get better, to give us better. He doesn't care. Instead, he'll go on another interview and he'll say, if you don't like what we're doing and putting out, you're not a real fan. That's a quote. And he has said many times this year, you can fuck off. Could you imagine the audacity of the guy in charge to tell his own fans to fuck off? But he never liked fans. When he was a wrestler, he couldn't stand them. He even put it in a lot of his promos. Remember the Mark one? That was the most notable. And now that he has a suit and tie on and he's the guy, he's the Vince McMahon now, he's emboldened to tell you to fuck off. And all of us, so many of us who've been watching for years and years as kids before he even laced up a pair of boots. And now he's telling us we're not even real fans. Who does this schmuck think he is? Telling us we're not real fan? Who are you? You don't tell us shit. You ain't a real wrestler. You ain't a real suit and tie Vince McMahon. You're a wannabe. You're a joke. You suck. You're not a real chief. How's that? You're not a real chief of creative and content, my ass. But for so many fans, right, you can't call him out on that. He can tell you to fuck off. He can tell you you're not even a real fan. He can talk down to you. He can degrade you. He can berate you. But when we, the fans, call him out, we're the meanies. We're being harsh. Go easy on him, BC. What are you talking about? He's telling you to fuck off, man. He's saying you're not a real fan if you don't like the booking in the way that this show is going, which is the majority of us, because the numbers show you that. Guys, they just pulled 933,000 viewers. They just went under 1 million, man. They're on their way to 3/4. They're going to be at NXT numbers by the middle of 2026, maybe even sooner. Isn't it time you just start being honest? The reason we got here is because Helmsley feels emboldened by TKO, by the fans. They hide behind, quote, record revenue because they're pimping out the revenue. More money from Saudi if we bring WrestleMania over there. More money from the fans if we charge $10,000 a ticket. But that's already started to dry up. $933,000 viewers. Yeah, that called for a rant. An impromptu breaking news rant, which is damn well what you just got. And it's justified. And I wish more would step up and finally say enough. Dude, this show sucks. The company sucks. We deserve better. Hell, we've earned it by sitting through these garbage Raws and garbage Smackdowns for years. And for the last 3 years, I don't even recognize this WWE anymore. Absolutely, I blame TKO. And at the top, I blame Hunter Hearst Helmsley. Because the creative, the content, those that should be booked properly, those that should be on the top, the main roster, main eventers, and they're not, that's on Helmsley. And his pettiness. Record low viewership. And you think it has nothing to do with a tag team dude who gets winded on his entrance and can't cut a promo. but he can yeet for 20 minutes every Monday. So for an entire year, we've had to yeet and tap out Gunther in 8 seconds so that Jey Uso looks like a monster. And at the end of the year, did it pay off? No, he's the most disliked videos in their whole catalog. The 18 to 49 demo despises Yeaterman because Helmsley made us despise Yeaterman. Sami Zayn, man, he's being primed to win the world title at 42. Yeah, that's what we need. Sam Zayn. Another mid-carder being the guy at the top. Gone is Austin and Rock and Taker, and in is Jey Uso, Sam Zayn, and who else? They have nobody else. They have nobody. Look at the damn commercial that Helmsley's starring in. Look at everybody around that table, man. They've all been doing this, 15 years at least? Roman Reigns, Cody Rhodes, CM Punk, Brock Lesnar, 15 years apiece, bare minimum. Roman might have been 2002? 7? 2012. What am I saying, man? 2012. Okay, so 13 years for Roman. 2007 was Cody. I think 2006 was CM Punk's debut, and Brock Lesnar, I don't know, sometime maybe before that. Point is, look at everybody in that commercial. And you tell me Helmsley is creating stars. Stop it, man. Who? He's creating mid-carders, yes. And he's putting them in the main event. Jey Uso, Sam Zayn. Meanwhile, LA Knight, Karrion Kross, all those dudes where the crowd is organically behind them and actually wants to see them. Nope. Can't give you any of that, guys. Sorry. Drew McIntyre has reached the top. That's as far as you're going to get. That's the most you're getting from Drew. LA Knight, he's reached the top. That's the best you're getting from LA Knight. We'll have more on that, by the way, later this week. But that's it, man. I tried to tell you guys for years that this was going to happen, and it did. And it did. And the wrestling world is shocked, and everybody's like, whoa, it actually happened. If you listen to this channel, I've been trying to help. I've been trying to help the company. Hello? Guys, if you don't change all of this, you're gonna hit 1 million and then under. They didn't want to hear it. They didn't want to hear it. And now will they? I don't know. I think Helmsley and every one of them are so stubborn and defiant and emboldened and narcissistic and everything that they probably think, oh, we'll bounce back like nothing, man. Put some bells and whistles. I got a John Cena tournament coming up. We'll bring some, quote, legends back. Bells and whistles. Do some title changes. No, it doesn't work that way, man. Helmsley's going to have to be removed from the position. There's no other way around it. This is WWE, man. This is what we all grew up loving. Like, it's falling apart. Don't you care? There's enough people just willing to blindly kiss Helmsley's ass for no reason. He's not WWE. He's not. He slept his way to the top and got the keys to the kingdom. That's it. He's the doofus son-in-law. Let's not forget that. Vince McMahon created something special several decades ago, and Helmsley is doing anything and everything to ruin it. The past 3 years have sucked. This last year is the worst I've ever seen, and I've been there for Doink the Clown, Duke Josie, Body Donnas, WrestleMania 13, 12, and 11, and I'll take all of that over this past year. This sucks. And this guy's too busy going to UFC on Saturday, going to the White House on Thursday, Pat McAfee show on Wednesday. He's got the commercials next Monday and Tuesday. So when is he going to be in his office to help out with the creative? Oh, he's not. And he misses all the shows these days. He doesn't even show up to the shows, man. He's texting. Yes, approve this, change this, do this. Yes. Remember on this show, Unreal? Who's everybody thinking for the Royal Rumble? And everybody's like, CM Punk, obviously. It's got to be Punk. And then Cena will win maybe the Chamber, but Punk is going to win. Because it was between Punk and Cena. And you guys remember, Helmsley sits down, and he just goes, I'm thinking about putting the rocket on Jey Uso. What are you talking about? Tag team twin Jey Uso? What are you talking about? What are you talking about? Just because you don't want to give CM Punk a big WrestleMania moment? No, but he can give him a little moment on a Saturday night's main event against Yeeterman. Yeah. And then he wonders why that match got panned and why the match sucked. He probably knew the match was going to suck. That's it. I said for years that this was going to happen. It happened, and here we are, 9:33. I take no pleasure in this, trust me. This is what I grew up loving, man. I have an amped up show about professional wrestling, and a lot of it's WWE. You think I take any satisfaction in watching this company get to 9:33? No, what I'd rather have is Helmsley pull his head out of his own ass. If there is any creative juice in him, utilize it. Put yourself in your office and do your work. Do your job. Chief of Creative and Content. You're not the spokesperson for WWE, bro. You're not the face of the company. But he refuses to put himself in the office and do work. And here we are. I always say when something is really bad, when something is falling apart, when something is not good, when something is failing, look at the top. If it's a restaurant, it's not just the chefs, because eventually you have to blame the owner, right? The chef is screwing up all the time. Who's the owner? Is anybody overseeing this? I'm not saying Helmsley owns WWE, but TKO has given him full authority on everything. They just want to pimp the product out. Advertisements, take it to Saudi, all that. Creative, the content, they're giving that to Helmsley. So yeah, he's the boss of all of that. And if something is failing so miserably, look at the guy in charge. 933,000 viewers. This has turned into a lengthy rant. But I just, even though we've been saying it for years, when you see it, you hear about it and you see it in real time for the first time, and it all becomes so real. It's like, wow, man, it actually happened. Like, Helmsley is so bad. This show and this company has gotten so bad that Smackdown cannot even pull in 1 million viewers. I shouldn't be shocked because I'm the one who's been saying this was going to happen for years. And yet, I'm shocked. I still am. Just seeing that number. And seeing what Helmsley has done to Vince McMahon's WWE. And how he has destroyed it. And I don't see it getting better. Because the decisions he's making is just so bad. There's a moment on Monday Night Raw where Becky Lynch was walking up the ramp. Asuka was coming out with Kairi, and they just stared at each other for a minute like teasing a match. Asuka's a heel. Becky's a heel. New Mexico was silent for that minute, and they were pretty loud. I mean, that's an in-demand crowd for WWE, New Mexico. A lot of kids, they'll make noise for anything. Nobody understood that face-off. Nobody wins in that scenario. The fans don't, because what are we watching? A heel versus a heel? In a match we've seen so many times in the past, by the way. But on top of that, the wrestlers don't, because they're both heels, so you don't want to out-heel the other heel. You see what I'm saying? Nobody can lose that. They just did that with Rusev. He lost to Dominic Mysterio 3 times in a row. The problem is Rusev is also a heel. He was out-heeled, low blow after low blow, heel tactics, and then he was rolled up in one of those 3. But he's lost 3 matches to Dominic Mysterio. So now nobody even knows how to look at Rusev. What is he? Is he all of a sudden friends with Penta because they had beef too? None of this makes sense. Gunther is supposed to be a top heel, but he's shaking Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes' hands after their matches. Why is he shaking their hands, but he talked all this crap in the quote story beforehand? Brock Lesnar is just showing up. F5's John Cena. We never got a reason, just like when a couple of years ago he took out, or was it last year? Whatever it was. He showed up and for an entire summer beat up Cody Rhodes. We never got an explanation. We never had a reason. Helmsley didn't have one. He didn't care to give us one. And then he just had Brock Lesnar take out Cena. No reason. We still to this day don't have a reason. And then he just has John Cena take on AJ Styles. No reason. No story. They had to put a live mic in AJ Styles' hands, and he had to tell the crowd because there was so much backlash. He said, we don't need a story. He had to tell the fans we don't need a story. Guys, I can go on and on and on. Austin Theory cashes in his Money in the Bank contract in the middle of a Raw for a mid-card U.S. title, a title he had already held several times in the past beforehand. Why is Austin Theory cashing in the middle of a Raw for a mid-card title? And by the way, he failed. He failed. And then he was basically put in catering for all of Helmsley's reign of terror as acting Vince McMahon. Basically, I mean, he tied him up with Grayson Waller and they went absolutely nowhere. But Austin Theory's young, he's got a physique, he's got muscles. Helmsley doesn't like that. But his cash in. Oh, and I love his excuse too, why he did that, right? He said, I was never going to beat Roman Reigns, let's be honest. They had him go on live TV and say that. So I went for the mid-card title. And then you guys remember a few months later, he declared himself eligible for the Royal Rumble because he wants a chance to face Roman Reigns for the world title. But wait a second. You just said you cashed in your Money in the Bank for the mid-card title because you didn't want to face Roman because you didn't have a chance. You were never going to win. Now, you want to face 29 other dudes in the Rumble to try to earn the opportunity that you already had with the briefcase. Guys, why is BC? Why are fans calling all of this out for 3 years? And Helmsley isn't thinking of any of this, or does he just not care? R-Truth has all the momentum in the world this summer. He comes back, he's put directly into catering. And when we see him again, when he resurfaces after 2 months, he's playing Santa Claus again and trying to make you giggle backstage with his comedy. John Cena, his entire year, his last year, his retirement year has been turmoil. They have ruined, Hunter Hearst Helmsley has ruined John Cena. A heel turn, and he never had a plan afterwards. Travis Scott will help you win the title. Yeah, Travis Scott. We'll have Brock attack you with no reason, no story. We'll put you in a match with AJ Styles. No reason, no story. Your last opponent, let's do a tournament because I'm too lazy to put you in a story with Gunther. So we'll do a tournament. We'll waste an entire tournament seeing who's going to be Cena's last opponent. They've annihilated Cena's retirement. Isn't it sad I could go on and on? I'm giving you guys 100 examples. Nothing is written down. I have nothing written. There's no notes in front of me. I don't have a rundown sheet. This is an impromptu rant, an impromptu breaking news amped up. And off the top of my dome piece, I'm coming up with 100 examples as to why SmackDown would be at 933. And globally, Raw would be at a 2-3, and domestically a 1-1. A 1-1 domestically. They're about to go under 1 million domestically on the Raw brand. I can't even fathom this. But I can, because I'm the one who told you this was going to happen. But it's just happening faster than even I thought. Because Helmsley is being even worse than I ever thought he could be. He's that bad at what he does. This product has gotten so bad, and it's what is cool is that you guys see vividly now how honest I've always been with you. There's enough cookie cutter podcasters and creators in the community, and they'll fluff up these shows, and they'll say they were good, or it wasn't bad, or I feel this was solid. And then there's BC, who after every show I am utmost and amplified honest with you. And who was right when it was all said and done, man? It was BC. It was the amplified unit. I never bullshitted you once, man. I never sugarcoated any of this. And we were right. Look at the numbers. We tried to tell them the shows are so bad. The product is so bad. But there was enough people going, no, it's good. You guys are meanies. You're being harsh. You're harsh critics. And here we are at a 933,000 viewership. Guys, I could keep going on. And that's the sad part, but this will get up to you late. Hopefully it's an eye-opener, not just to fans, but to WWE. Like, you can't just say, oh, things are changing, it's a different landscape. You have to change this. Because that 933 will eventually go to 8, 7, 633. AEW will pass you by. Your own developmental brand, isn't that what it is, Helmsley? That'll pass you by. The local bingo hall will pass you by. 9:33. WWE has just pulled its lowest primetime viewership of all time under the Hunter Hearst Helmsley era in direction. Hunter Helmsley is single-handedly destroying World Wrestling Entertainment. Until next time, and there will be that next time. BC saying check you, Amplified Unit. Salute.